Our latest big conversation here on the counterattack. We're talking with the longtime associate head coach, now co-head coach for the UCLA Bruins, Jason Falitz. Jason, how are you?
Good, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, man, we're talking just a couple of days after what can only be classified as a barn burner in Berkeley. Let's start there, and then we'll dive into some other topics. But fresh off of that one, you guys are down 3 on the road. You make a goalie change. You come back, force overtime. That had all the feels. Tell me, how did your team get out of Berkeley with a win?
Yeah, I think, look, I did not expect us to be in a shootout of that level, but we try to tell them Cal's a really dangerous team. They're an explosive team. They have a lot of players that can shoot. We gave them too much time with the ball, quite frankly, and didn't protect our goalie early in the game. But like you said, the positive is we go down 3 goals twice in that game. We find a way to score 19, even though we give up 18, which, okay, we've never been a program that's banking on scoring 19 goals. We like to hold teams under 10. But we got out of Berkeley with a win. It just is a testament to them being able to be gritty and come back in moments. And we've done it a few weekends in a row, but I'm hoping we can get out to better starts moving forward.
And then just the performance, some of your key pieces, and we talked with Taylor Smith not long ago here on the counterattack about someone I felt that has just been like quietly under the radar. I mean, if you can be an All-American and score 40 goals and kind of not be given your due, but man, so clutch late in that game for you guys.
Yeah, she's had an incredible year. I think she's playing with a lot of confidence right now, and that game's a great example. You know, she earlier in the game probably has some clean looks that she'd like to have back, where maybe she doesn't hit the face of the goal. But she has the confidence at the end of the game with 28 seconds or whatever it was left. She hits a massive shot for us to put the game into overtime. And she's been huge for us this year.
And then you talked about kind of the shooting and protecting your goal. You end up making a change there late in that match, going from Steele to Niz. Take me through that. I know those aren't lightly made decisions. So how do you get to that place, and then where do you go from there as you move down the season?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we have 2 really, really good goalies. Obviously, Lauren Steele is a national team level goalkeeper. Quite honestly, you know, the game always looks different when you go back and watch it on video. We did not put her in a great position early in the game, especially in the first half. There was not hands in front of her, quite frankly. The ball was reversing from one side to the other side into centers. She didn't have blocks in front of her. So I think, you know, she's a mentally tough player. But as we got into the second half, I think just the amount of goals that had been put on without blocks, et cetera, I think it was a good opportunity for Joey to go in, who I 100% have trust in. She's a great goalie. Quite frankly, she's a starting goalie, but she plays as a backup. We have that luxury. And she came in and she didn't miss a beat. It was pretty incredible. She blocks a penalty, made a huge save on a 7-on-6 at the end of the game to put the game into overtime. And no, it's not an easy decision. But again, I wanted to also give Joey a chance. And it was a rough 3 quarters for Lauren, and that's not her fault. You know, I think she probably wants to have a couple back she missed, but really our defense has got to be better in front of her.
And then just last note on that game, because you don't want to make too much out of a game in February, but you talk about the defense and the offense. It's such a kind of an anomaly type game for your team in a number of ways. So what do you want to take from a game like that? Is it just about being able to be gritty on the road? Like what's the big takeaway for you?
I mean, the positive takeaway is that we can win a game like that, where we can put 19 goals on the board against a really good team on the road. You know, the other thing is we're gonna watch a lot of video this week. They're probably not gonna like seeing all of it, but quite frankly and simply, our defense has to be much better. That's not the UCLA standard of since I've been here, you know. And again, credit to Cal. They hit some really good shots. But we got to go back to the drawing board and get back to our details, our basics. And really, we're trying to make things simple. So we're not making, like you said, it's a game in February. It's not the end all be all game, but we can learn a lot from it.
Now, taking a step back, change for you this season. You've been with UCLA over a decade, but Adam Wright announcing he's going to take some time away from the team, focus on his health. Of course, wishing him well. But take us through that journey for you to then be named co-head coach, and you've been with the program a long time. Did you have a sense this was coming? Was it something you were able to kind of plan for a bit more? How did it come to you? And then how did you get ready to take the reins this season?
Yeah, there was no question that Adam was dealing with some stuff with his body during the men's season that he wasn't able to address. And of course, the most important thing is your health. So did I have as much run up as, no, probably not. It was a couple, I had probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But again, like you said, I've been with this program for a long time. These are women that I've been with for years, since they've been freshmen. I've been with Adam for 10 plus years. He's a great mentor. I've been able to learn so much here. In my opinion, he's the best coach in the country. And so being able to absorb that, to be in a program like this for such a long time, I think the transition maybe wasn't as hard as someone coming from the outside. Maybe wasn't as hard for the players since I have been here, but it's for sure different. And I'm embracing the new role. I love it. We got a great group. But again, I would have loved to have more time, but it is what it is. And I was ready to roll. I've been here a long time. So.
Yeah, with that in mind, right, it's such a strong foundation, and you've been a part of that staff for a number of years. So I highly doubt you came in on day one and were like, hey, like scrap everything, like we're doing it this way, right? But you've also been a coach elsewhere, club, other levels. Is there a little something with this season or this team that is a little bit like your spin or your take on something that is maybe just slightly different than Adam Wright?
Yes. And look, I've been here for a long time. I've been here for 10 years. So a lot of the things we've been doing for the past 10 years, I'm so ingrained in as far as the way we play. On a team, quite honestly, with 11 seniors, I didn't want to flip this thing on its head and be like, we're scrapping everything and now it's completely different and we're going to be playing. No. So, we're playing the same fundamental based game. I do think that, I think that kind of stuff as far as change when you've been at a program, for so long happens gradually. And yes, I'm evolving as this goes on and I'm putting my spin on things. I think I've put probably more emphasis on the offensive end of the pool than maybe we have in the past. But look, what we do here for the last 10 years, I believe in. It's a system I'm so used to. But 100% as that begins to evolve, things will change. Things will change for sure.
Over the last 10 years, men's, women's programs, working with them together, always a consistent force, especially right, the men being able to rack up a lot of championships, women breaking through in 24. What would you pinpoint? What would you say is the thing that consistently makes the teams contenders year in and year out? Is there a trait about these programs that allow them to always be in the mix for a title?
Yeah, I think culture is a word that's thrown around pretty lightly now in sport. People always talk about culture. I think that's something that this program, especially, Adam's teams in the past, it's something they're working on every day, where we're not a team that has a hierarchy or is relying on one or two people or allowing people, everybody's as important as the next. Which builds a strong foundation. I think everybody owns their role. And of course, we've had amazing players come through here. You have to have the players to do it. But being a real family, being not being selfish, and then having discipline and really having great fundamentals, which is what we work. But it starts with the belief in what we're doing, and then being able to put the team always in front of you, ahead of your own personal goals, and then knowing the fundamental details, being a student of the game, and playing our pace, which those teams that have had success in the past, they're great with the smallest little details, whatever phase of the game. And they're committed to doing that, and we don't care who scores here. So, and that's what creates a special group.
We're talking here with Jason Falitz, now interim co-head coach for the UCLA women's team here in the 26th season. And Bruins are off to a good start, obviously, coming off that win over Cal. Let's go way back. Before you were a coach, you were a player. I went to the UCLA bio here, and looking back at some of your playing days, I don't know that fans may know that you racked up 455 goals at John Burroughs High School, or maybe the Jason Falitz diehards do know that number off the top of their head. What take me back to those days? Like, what was the scouting report on you as a player? How did How did someone try and shut down Jason Falitz?
I don't know. I had the ability when I was younger. I started out, I didn't find water polo till I was a freshman. I was a hockey player, soccer player, baseball player, but I had played a lot of sports. I grew up in the water. I wasn't really that great of a swimmer. Long story short, I started my freshman year, and I was started as a perimeter player and then kind of evolved into a center quickly, but I was able to go from the inside to the outside. So I could play almost anywhere in the pool in high school, which I think allowed me to score more goals. But as far as this, I don't know what the scouting report was. I was lucky to have great coaches through high school, starting with my first coach, John Kunishima, who was actually a science teacher at the time, but he was crazy. He made us work really. We used to carry the metal chairs across the pool and the whole deal. I was a part of Harvard Foundation, so I got to work with Coach Corso, Coach Mandel. So I was lucky through high school to be able to have my friends in my group at John Burroughs, but also be able to be exposed to a much higher level over there at Harvard.
You played under Rich Corso. I think you talked to people that had a chance to play for him, and it's someone that made a pretty lasting imprint. What's your takeaway from someone that obviously coached at the very highest levels?
Yeah, he was. I loved it. I was used to having really serious coaches. Back to my first coach, who again was a science teacher, but he was gnarly. And I always liked that personally. I liked being held accountable. I liked the discipline. I liked working hard, and that fell in line with exactly what Corso was doing at Harvard. People used to think at that point in the late 90s that he was crazy. All the parents were afraid of him, but I loved him. He's a great guy. I've been able to reconnect with him a little bit, just with him being back over at Oaks. I see him at JOs and stuff like that. And we fell out of contact for a while, but he's awesome. He knows the game really well. He was obviously great with goalies as well. And they had Axelrod was there when I was playing there, and some of, who was a great goalie here at UCLA as well. So again, just being able to be around that, to be exposed to that other level, because Burroughs wasn't a year-round program, that really helped me and changed a lot of things for me.
And then on to college, Long Beach State, and then also LA Valley College. I guess just take me back to your kind of summary of your college days and, some of the fond memories you have from that time.
Yeah, Ricardo was at Long Beach when I was there. And unfortunately that didn't work out, but it was a blessing in disguise. The best thing that ever happened to me was, everybody makes mistakes. I made my own, and I landed in a situation where I went into the working world and tried a bunch of different things, manual labor, print shop. I was real estate. I was doing all sorts of stuff. And found after an extended period of time that I missed the sport. Luckily, Jim McMillan was at Los Angeles Valley College. I don't know if you know Jim. He coached with Terry Schroeder a long time at Pepperdine. He was the assistant on that team when they won in '98. And Valley was right down the street from where I was. I wanted to continue playing. So I walked on the pool deck one morning, and what he did for me was much more than water polo. He was one of my greatest mentors. He's like a family member to me. He did a bunch for me in my life, and I got my passion back to keep playing. As soon as I was done playing, Dan Layson was an assistant there as well, coaching with him. And Dan was close friends with Ray, so it was interesting how it all worked out. And I started to connect with Dan, and then that kind of led right into working at Rose Bowl when I was done playing. And I think that was around 2008 or so. But yeah, it's an interesting story. It's not the way I thought it was going to go, but it's my story. And, after a long time and looking back, I'm grateful for all my experiences, the positive and the negative, which I think, to be honest, helped me be a better coach in relating with all situations.
You're leading me right into my next question here, right? You're now the guy that is trying to help 18 to 22-year-olds navigate a critical time in their life. And you went through your own period where it didn't go how you thought it was going to go, and then you figured out a way to make it happen. How much does that inform the way you are as a coach and a leader for the athletes, regardless of the water polo stuff you're speaking?
Yeah, I think the other side of it, especially stepping into this new role, I mean, being an assistant or associate head coach is definitely different. You know, you're always there for the players, um, but the stuff that's out of the pool is really more important a lot of the time than what's happening in the pool. Whether kids are struggling with school or whatever, there's a lot of things that go on now with the cell phone and social media and all these things, or just people having a bad day. So having the mentors I had that really make you feel like, not make you feel, they do, there's that love, that care, that support. That's my number one goal, especially stepping into a new position, is to give that to every woman on our team. Because I do love our team and I love all the players on them. The unique ones, the loud ones, the ones that are quiet, they're all different. But I respect them all. And my goal is to be way more than a coach for them. You know, I like any given day, there's 3 or 4, they'll just walk in here to chat. And that's kind of the coach I want to be, is to always be there for them. So yeah, I had great examples through my rough times, quite frankly, and the good times. So for me, I'm trying to pay that forward.
You were on this accelerated timeline to be in the spot. We talked about just a couple of weeks. Have you even had a chance to kind of like let it wash over you that you're coaching at the most elite level in the game collegiately as a head coach?
I've had a couple moments. I mean, to be honest, the beginning of the season was pretty pretty head down, with the early tournaments and stuff. But look, I have had, yes, time to reflect and look back on where I came from, how I arrived to this point. And I didn't obviously, there's an army of people that are involved in me having a chance to do this, including, you know, going back to Ray and Corso and Dan Layson and McMillan, and these people that are really special and Adam obviously has played a massive role in my life, trusting me with this program, the department here. So yes, I have had time to really reflect on how grateful I am to be in a position like this and just to have the opportunity. Because I mean, you look around and sometimes you have to take a step back, and I'm at UCLA and I'm able to coach at the highest level and compete with these women who are trying to reach their ultimate dreams, and it's pretty special. It's pretty special. So it's something I don't take lightly.
I think you're old enough to have seen the old Major League movies with Bob Uecker and Charlie Sheen, and
Of
you know,
course.
there's I don't know if it's the
Classics.
first or second. They're classics, right? But the
Yeah.
manager, you know, and Adam thankfully doesn't have anything this serious, but the manager's dealing with some health issues and he can't be with the team, and so he has like the pocket radio and he's
Yeah.
listening to the broadcast. What is Adam's level of engagement like? Are you getting texts like, "Oh, that was good," or like, "Whoa, 19 goals is a lot," or like, is it more like, "Do your thing"?
I, you know, we've been together so long. I kind of know, you know, what he's thinking about each probably individual game. And his whole thing when this happened was, look, I want this to be your deal. And if you want me to be involved more, I will. If you want me to be a fly on the wall, I will. And I think kind of the way I'm navigating it is, I'm, you know, I want him to focus his family, his health. Like if he needed to step away, I'm going to take this on and I'm going to try and make it my own and do it the right way. And so that's how I've kind of proceeded forward.
Excellent. What's something in just these first 2 months that you've learned about this that maybe you didn't know until you were actually doing it?
I mean, it's, I think I knew about, you know, again, I talk to Coach Layson all the time. I mean, we talk once a week. Uh, and he, you know, he always told me it's very different being a head coach. And I've watched Adam for a long time. I've been, again, closely working with him. So I see a lot of the stuff he does behind the scenes. But when you're actually trying to start stepping into the role, now I understand more of how valuable time is, you know, because there are more things that happen behind the scenes that as an assistant or an associate coach, you're quite frankly not dealing with, or meetings with players or meetings with the department or whatever it is. And then, you know, just the idea that this falls back on you. Like if you're doing well, or if the team's struggling, like there's a responsibility, and that brings angst as well, because obviously I want to have great success. So it's very different for sure, because you're the last line really, and it's on you to make sure everything's running the right way.
Really, really appreciate all the info here and kind of you reflecting back on your journey. Just last thing here, right? We're looking towards the rest of the season. I know you have a big homestand coming up, and then of course conference and everything else. Is there something big picture you feel like this team needs to? Let's take the last game out of it. Just big picture, something the team needs to be better at, or you want to really improve upon. That's going to make the difference between now and the end of April.
Yeah, I think the main word for us right now is just consistency. We've had moments where we're great in the first half. We've had moments where they've proven that they can play in any sort of game. If that wasn't clear last weekend, I mean, I don't remember the last time we're dropping 19 goals on a Cal or a team like that. They've proven they can play in a defensive battle. But we've yet to put 4 quarters together, quite honestly. And if this team does, and look, we're still getting healthy. There's still pieces that are coming back. But we got a great group. What they want is sitting right there, but they have to go take it. And being consistent is the way to get that done. And so I think, and that's the goal, I think, with any team, is you're trying to play consistently your best towards the end. And that's a process that happens every day. So if there was one thing, it's that word. Being consistent, or more consistent, and not having these waves where you go up, down, and we're finding some sort of stability through 4 quarters. So that would be the main thing.
Excellent. Well, Jason Falitz, wishing you best of luck the rest of the season. Appreciate taking some time now, and always before any game, you're always a wealth of knowledge and a straight shooter, and that's appreciated as we try to cover the sport at a higher level. So thanks for the time.
Yep, appreciate everything you do as well.